Hello everyone, and welcome to the Anti-News Podcast. I'm your host, Katie Grosso, and thank you for tuning in. Today's date is January 25th, and as always, I've got 5 happy stories for you. To start with, a study shows that cats can help kids with autism. Then, a marine sanctuary is opened in Ivory Coast, and robots start cleaning up rivers in Hong Kong. After the music break, Kyoto scientists plan to send a satellite made of wood into space, and a creative use for lily pads is found in the Philippines. Did you know that out of all the animals we've domesticated, cats were the only ones who domesticated themselves? When we started to make settlements and grow our own food, rodents would eat our food supplies, and those rodents would then attract cats, who would in turn eat the rodents. This formed something of a symbiotic relationship, with humans providing shelter and food, and cats taking care of small pests and providing companionship. Cats quickly became our companions, and to this day, they're still by our side as rodent catchers and pets, and are great for helping people who get stressed out easily, like those with autism, as a new study has shown. Researchers from the University of Missouri studied how adopting a cat impacted children with autism between the ages of 6 and 14 and their families, and were very happy with the results. The cats were first screened to make sure they would be a good fit for the families, but after, there was almost an immediate improvement. The parents were able to relax some as the cat provided a distraction, and the children's anxiety gradually went down over time. Many kids with autism can get overwhelmed by loud noises, so a cat is a much better fit because of its quietness, predictable behavior, and most importantly, their ability to love unconditionally. Anyone who's ever had a cat lay on their lap while purring can tell you just how comforting the feeling is, and how relaxing their presence can be on its own. Cats are great companions for anyone looking for a calm, fairly low-maintenance pet. But the most important thing with any pet is that you connect with them and form a happy, healthy relationship. When I first heard of Ivory Coast, I thought that it was a place in the tropics. But as it turns out, it's actually a country in West Africa, which is home to the town of Grand-Barraby. The town itself is home not only to turtle nesting grounds, but also to mangroves and coral reefs. 1 in 6 mangrove species are in danger of becoming extinct, and we've all heard about how coral reefs are dying off because of climate change, so it's important that we do what we can to protect them. Now, what does this have to do with Grand-Barraby? Well, not only does it have the things I just listed, but it now has Ivory Coast's first ever protected marine area. The 1,000 square mile area is the first of 5 that Ivory Coast has planned to become a protected marine area, which will include an area closed off to humans, as well as an eco-development zone. The eco-development zone will be open to eco-friendly tourism and sustainable fishing. The protected area will help keep safe not only leatherback and olive ridley turtles that like to make their nests there, but also 20-some species of sharks and rays, such as the hammerhead shark and the manta ray. This will hopefully inspire more countries in Africa, and hopefully the rest of the world, to open more protection areas for marine life. Trash along the coastline is something we've all seen. While there are bigger threats, such as TNT fishing and coral poaching, keeping a close eye on those areas that are in danger is a good way of keeping them safe, both from the big threats and from the smaller threats as well. If you've never heard of it, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch might sound like something out of an urban legend, but it's a very real thing. For those who don't know, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is 2 large patches of trash that float around in the Pacific Ocean. The trash gets there from being thrown in rivers, which eventually makes its way out into the ocean, and currents carry it to the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, no matter where the trash started out. Because of the amount of trash, it's very difficult to clean up what gets there, and the more trash that gets out into the ocean, the harder it'll be to try and clean up. One of the best ways to stop it from growing is to prevent trash from getting out into the ocean in the first place by stopping it in rivers. To that end, the Clearbot is here to help. The Clearbot was created by Open Ocean Engineering, a Hong Kong-based startup company, and was designed to remove garbage from lakes, rivers, canals, and ponds. The Clearbot looks like a small boat, but has an opening on the front which collects trash into its 200-liter mesh bin. The Clearbot can either be manually operated or can be left to collect trash on its own, and with a 48-hour battery life, it can collect a lot of junk in its trunk. When it's full, or when the battery starts to get low, the Clearbot will make its way to a central docking station, drop off its not-so-precious cargo, recharge, and get right back to it. Currently, the company is working on scaling up their operations in Hong Kong and have a project on hold in Indonesia, simply waiting on clearance. Water is, without a doubt, one of the most important necessities of life, and the easier it is to make sure it's clean, the better. These little bots will help with that, but it's up to all of us to do our part to keep rivers clean. Recycle what you can, and properly throw out what you can't. That means putting it in the bin and not leaving it on the side of the road or in rivers, because we can't depend on robots to do everything for us, or at the very least, we shouldn't. Less than 3% of the water on Earth is fresh water, so we need to do all we can to protect it. For now, though, let's have a music break and just sit back and relax. And that was I Need You by LiQWYD. I'm honestly not sure how to pronounce it, so I figured I'd just spell out the name. Now, on to our last two stories. We think of wood as being super common and diamonds as being quite rare here on Earth, but in space, wood is significantly rarer than diamonds. As far as we know, Earth is the only place where wood can be found, whereas diamonds have actually been found in meteorites, like the one in the Nubian desert of Sudan. Comparing the amount of wood to the amount of diamonds in space, the percentage of wood would be a mere fraction of the amount of diamonds. However, that could all soon change. Researchers, along with former astronaut Takao Doi, who is now a professor at Kyoto University, are working with Sumitomo Forestry, a 400-year-old logging and processing company, to develop a wooden satellite to replace metal ones. The first step is testing different types of wood in extreme conditions, as well as researching different growth rates. The ultimate goal of this research is to make satellites out of wood, so that when it comes time to retire them, they'll simply burn up in the atmosphere without raining down debris or harmful chemicals. The goal of this? To help eliminate space junk, which primarily consists of old satellites that aren't being used any longer. In 2023, the first of what will hopefully be many more wooden satellites will be sent into outer space to see how the material holds up in Earth's atmosphere. If this project is successful, it will not only be a technological advancement, but it will make space travel and exploration much safer, as even a small piece traveling at high speeds can cause significant damage, such as when in 2006, a tiny piece of space junk hit the International Space Station and took a chip out of a heavily reinforced window. Value can be calculated in more than just its price or rarity. Value can also be determined by its use, and in this case, wood could become significantly more valuable than any diamond, from Earth or otherwise. As nice as they look, in the Philippines, lily pads are a huge problem. They've been the cause of serious floods, as the plant will block up rivers to the point where they just burst apart. Flooding can result in the destruction of homes and businesses, loss of crops and livestock, and even the death of millions of people, either as a direct result of the flood or from the waterborne diseases that can follow afterwards. This is nothing to say of the emotional and mental trauma that happens from losing everything you have. In some areas, the lily pads are so thick that you can walk on top of them. So, how could you get rid of them all? Well, Zerluk Shane Rodriguez and Hazel May Pahotagana, two students from the University of the Philippine Visayas, along with Jackie Yap and Leon Key, two Malaysian engineers, have teamed up to form a new company called Hi-G Energy. Hi-G Energy takes lily pads, along with other agricultural waste, and turns them into eco-friendly charcoal bricks for low-income areas to replace regular coal, which is more expensive and lets off a lot of harmful smoke. This will not only help deal with the lily pad problem, but also provide a greener solution to what's normally a very dirty issue. Not to mention, it'll help pad out the wallets of those on a tight budget. The phrase, "kill two birds with one stone," means to solve two problems with one solution, and I can't think of a better example of this saying than this. By turning lily pads into coal bricks, it helps solve both the issue of lily pads clogging up rivers and gives people a cheaper and cleaner alternative to coal. Hopefully, this startup grows into a huge company and we can see this product being more widely used for a safer and greener future. Here's today's advice. Misinformation can cause a lot of problems, so always double-check your facts. If you got it from a scientific journal, then it's a safe bet that the facts are accurate. If you read it on a Facebook post, maybe look for other sources before full-heartedly believing in it. And when you can, look for multiple sources that say the same thing. That's it for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. We're almost done with the first month of 2021, and so far, everything seems to be going all right. Let's all keep working together to make things even better, and see that this year is a happier one than the last. If you'd like to support this podcast, you can find it on YouTube, Spotify, Google and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spreaker. Links can be found in the description, and until next time, remember that there is still some good in the world. You just gotta look for it. Take care out there, everyone.